Hello, welcome to the Pinfall podcast, where we watch Raw so you don't have to. That's the new tagline.
Yeah.
Um, you're welcome in advance. I'm your host Liz, and I'm joined by my scrum diddlyumptious co-host Marcus.
Hello.
How do you do today, Marcus?
Oh, as well as they can be after watching that boring ass Raw.
It's it's a real pain. It's a real pain.
It's like, okay, first off, that ending. It because they broke up the Hurt Business and gave us Corbin. That sucks. That sucks.
What is Corbin even doing on Raw?
It's because they don't have enough heels on Raw, I guess. And Corbin's not doing anything on SmackDown, I guess. But also like the United States Championship scene sucks. Shane Braun storyline sucks right now.
Pardon me.
The Raw tag scene, the Raw tag title scene's good. That's really good. That's like the highlight of the whole thing. The Bad Bunny Miz stuff, it's fine.
I don't hate that. I am enjoying that.
I think, yeah, with Bad Bunny punching Miz, that was great, but I think everything else, it's like, feels like they don't know what to do with it.
I think what soured you on it is the Miz and John Morrison more than Bad Bunny and Damien.
I think it's the music video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the music video was poorly mixed. I will say that from a sound person's point of view.
After the one they made, I think the one they made when, what was it? It was like, fuck, what was it? The one they made last year that was filmed in Miz's house.
Yeah.
Hey Hey Ho Ho.
Yeah.
That one was good, but it feels like everyone since then has just been, I don't know, it's been like a weird gimmick they've been doing.
I guess that's fair.
The Fiend stuff was not great today because you only had Randy talking to a camera and you had Alexa Bliss talking to a camera. The Hurt Business stuff it's good, but like what we got out of it sucks. And then the women's tag scene sucks. The Raw Women's Championship scene though seems really good.
So I don't think that the tag team for women. I don't think the scene sucks necessarily. Well, I guess like Lana and Naomi. Yeah, I'm down to clown here. Lana and Naomi versus Shayna and Nia. Definitely down to clown. If I have to see Mandy and Dana one more goddamn time, I'm gonna have a hissy fit.
You see, it's like they've got a ton of talent in the women's tag scene, both on Raw and SmackDown, but they're not doing anything with it. They're not writing anything. They're just saying, like, they're having Mandy, Dana, and Lana Naomi take turns commentating each other's matches. There's nothing tangible. And you barely have any crossover with the tag title. Well, I guess you do, but that was with Sasha and Bianca, and we all knew that wasn't going to pan out.
Yeah, I think with Lana and Naomi, it's more of a situation where like, or not Lana and Naomi, but I think having just three groups of people fighting over the same thing, it sort of makes it like, well, I know where this is going one way or the other. That said, I just like last week I was excited because I saw Lana and Naomi saying like, well, we want our rematch. We want our rematch at WrestleMania. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And then Mandy and Dana did the same thing. So I was like, wait, I kind of thought that the other thing was supposed to be like a signal, sort of. And now I'm just getting this like uncomfortable 6-woman tag match vibe that I don't want. I don't want it. I don't
Oh
want
no.
it.
No. Wait till you see what they'll probably do, because that's just the women on Raw. Wait until the SmackDown women chime in. They're probably gonna do maybe the same thing they did last year's Mania when they had kind of, what was it, like a fatal 4-way or something, fatal 4-way ladder match with one member from each tag team. That was pretty cool. But I feel like they're gonna do like a fatal 4-way tag match next week or something to be able to get the title at Mania.
I'm gonna reiterate this.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if I see like, if you're gonna give me like an 8-woman tag match, even like with like Nia, Shayna, Lana, Naomi, Riot Squad, Ruby and Tamina. Yep. Natty and Tamina. Cool, fine. So help me God, if I have to see Mandy and Dana on a WrestleMania stage.
You know what was a WrestleMania worthy match that had Mandy Rose?
Hair for hair.
Yeah.
Hair versus hair.
Sonya Deville.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that wasn't something that was workable or workaroundable.
Yeah, I think the only ones who can the only one who can really go for the title at Mania and feel good is Lana and Naomi. Yeah. Mandy and Dana's stale. Riot Squad, they've been cast away for a while, and Natty and Tamina are they're just getting they're getting their footing though. I feel like they haven't found their like, they haven't found their balance yet.
I don't know what the vibe is. I kind of thought that was going to be like a short-lived experience, but the more we get them, the more I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Give me more now.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. Do you want to head into the news?
Yeah, I guess. Not a big news day. A lot of news, but not big news. Which, maybe for once it's kind of a good.
Do you want me to start with my Andrade news?
Hey, hit me with your Andrade news.
So, this user on Twitter, Maggie_Rita, who appears to be transcribing an interview with Andrade or something like that. There's one specific excerpt that talks about the incident in Saudi Arabia, where it appears the Raw talent was all unable to get on their plane and basically held hostage in Saudi Arabia. But the tweets say, Andrade... What was that?
I heard about that incident.
Oh, okay. I don't think I'd heard of it till now. But Andrade says he can talk about the Saudi incident. Says they were unable to leave for 2 days, that they made up a bunch of stories to the talent and made them get on and off planes. Says there was a plane for the SmackDown talent because they had to cover the show, but most of the Raw talent was stuck. Said when they arrived, they were treated like royalty, but when trying to leave, they were stuck in the airport and finally sent to a hotel. Says he met with higher ups, and the higher ups said they had to talk to Vince, but tried to offer comfort about the experience. Andrade says they were stuck at the airport, sharing protein bars on the floor. Says the day they met with talent regarding the Saudi incident or Saudi thing, he refused to go to the meeting. He remembers everything vividly because he was in Saudi when his mom passed.
Oh.
So
horrible.
that seems to be something that really stuck with Andrade. And in these tweets are like, this is like 30 or so tweets long, 50 tweets long. Oh wait, there's more. There's another tweet regarding the Saudi incident. Says they were definitely not allowed to leave. Says he met with Vince and told him he didn't want to go back to Saudi. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff, including like when he met Charlotte, their relationship, how they started out, his relationship with Carl Anderson, dealing with racism in the locker room.
Carl Anderson racist?
No. It looks like his relationship with Carl Anderson was a good relationship.
Oh, okay.
But let's see, I can actually talk about that a little bit. It says while on tour, Carl Anderson texted him about meeting up at catering when they got to the next hotel around 2 to 3 a.m. Carl texted him, "Where are you? I want to introduce you to a friend." Andrade was in his room at his point. He started to think to himself, who could it be? He showed up, saw other talent. Carl introduces Ashley to him, and he was like, "What am I doing here? I don't want trouble out of respect for her dad, who she is. I wouldn't have shown up." He says he's super private, and other talent was there too. So it seems that Carl Anderson actually introduced Andrade to Charlotte Flair.
Oh, I forgot her name was Ashley.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is Ashley?
I
And who's her father?
I forgot at first too, but then it clicked.
Well, that's interesting. That's sweet. And also, I mean, the Saudi incident, like, I'd seen clips of people like kind of what seemed like joking, like, oh, they're holding us hostage.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, weird, but and then now that I hear that, I'm like, oh, they meant management. Well, that's interesting.
I wonder like what the reasoning was.
I don't know. Probably some weird shit. I mean, it's the WWE.
Yeah. Weird shit's
Sorry,
their middle name.
I was looking all over for a hair tie because I just can't stand my hair right now. It's so everywhere. And I can't find like one of my small hair ties either. So I was like, I guess I'm gonna pull it back with a scrunchie, which I don't really like doing. With like a small ponytail, because now I just feel like a little happy little cheerleader. Sorry. I got distracted. All right, so Charlie Caruso has officially joined the ESPN full time
Hell yeah.
as Charlie Arnold, which I think is her real name.
Makes sense.
So good for her. I mean, to be fair, kind of, I don't know if I should be saying good for her because it sounds like she was kind of like flaky.
I mean, obviously it seems like ESPN coverage is something she really cares about.
I guess maybe she didn't care about wrestling.
Maybe she didn't care for Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that's another thing. Speaking of caring about Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon was quoted talking about why the WWE owns wrestlers' likenesses. And she said, the WWE is a bit different than other leagues and properties. We own all intellectual properties because we create them. So it's very different from how the league operates. We have a whole pop culture strategy outside of our business. We cast our superstars outside WWE programming, whether that's partnership endorsements, cameos, roles in Hollywood films, red carpets, you name it. The goal is to get our stars out there as much as possible. We recognize there's a huge percentage of the population that isn't WWE fans that we want to attract. At the same time, we also want to get athletes, pop culture influencers, and celebrities into our programming for the same reason. The rising tide really raises all boats in terms of audience and growth. So I wanted to talk about that real quick because, like, basically she just said we own their likenesses because it makes us money.
Yeah, 90% of that had nothing to do with owning likenesses.
I know. It's interesting to me that, like, it just seems so second nature to her. Like, yeah, of course we own them because, like, we created them. Like, don't think he did though.
Yeah, no. That's weird, and I don't like that as a contract employee myself.
It's like
Big no
also,
no.
especially because like a lot of wrestlers take their gimmicks from like their indie days and bring them into the WWE.
Yeah.
So it's like, so you really didn't create it, you just kind of cultivated it, which does not count as creating.
You just monetized it.
That's like somebody taking like a script of yours and saying, well, I created it because I funded the movie.
That's like me taking the first Iron Man movie, recutting some of the scenes, posting it on YouTube and monetizing it and saying it's mine.
It's just such a weird thing that I still cannot wrap my head around. I don't know, man. Speaking of, not really. Apparently Road Dogg suffered a heart attack last Thursday night. And his wife mentioned it in like, I guess, a Facebook post. Like, he's fine. But I guess that just happened. So I figured I would talk about it for a second.
Yeah. I mean, not much to talk about.
His kidneys are good, as his wife said. And they're going to get a heart catheter. I think is a stent. Good luck to him. It is a stent.
Yeah, I mean, think of him what you will, but heart attack's a heart attack.
Is he?
Oh, he is not a good person at all. I think allegedly, I heard that he is a racist, homophobe, all the bad stuff. I don't want to bother looking it all up right now. But
Well, best of luck to him.
Allegedly, those are the words around him.
Again, best of luck. On top of that, not really, but just I have no other way to segue out of certain pieces of news sometimes. Just want to pull that over. So let's discuss. We'll talk about Hall of Fame, and then we'll talk about some goofy little men doing goofy little things. Put that any other way. So some new people are being inducted into the Hall of Fame. This seems to be like 2 a week now. So at this point, what we've got for this particular class this year, like Molly Holly, Eric Bischoff, Kane, Great Khali, and now, Rob Van Dam.
Right.
I don't think I've missed anyone, but if I have, you'll find out on the 6th. So the ceremony is also going to honor Titus O'Neil for his charity work through the Warrior Award, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Warrior Award.
So Titus is getting honored with that as well on the Hall of Fame induction night. So good for him.
Yeah.
And thanks to the WWE for acknowledging Titus as a human being. Still insane to me. Now let's talk about some goofy little men. Buddy Murphy.
Oh. Okay.
Little Mr. Buddy Murphy. Actually, yeah, I'll do this. Who has not really competed since, well, besides Cesaro, hasn't really competed anything of significant value in a while. Has teased that he wants a match at WrestleMania with a certain Mr. Aleister Black. Which, let me start right here by saying, if there's a God, may he bless us. Because that'd be the sickest fucking match.
Well, he specifically said, let's steal the show.
Yes, he said wanna with an O steal the show at #WrestleMania at Alistair.
Maybe they're like the pre-show or something.
Well, that would imply that Alistair's come back at some point.
Yeah.
That would be a WrestleMania worthy match, though.
It would be, but I think a more realistic situation would be during the Seth Rollins-Cesaro match. After it's over, Aleister Black attacks Seth Rollins. And then Buddy Murphy comes in to help and attacks Aleister Black, helping to reshape the relationship between Seth and Murphy, tearing Cesaro away from that feud and putting Aleister back in the story scene.
That's an idea. I definitely would just love to see Aleister versus Buddy. And I'm kind of mad at Buddy Murphy for even putting this thought in my head.
Yeah.
Because I know how the WWE works. I know that both Murphy and Aleister were Heyman guys. So that means Vince fucking hates them.
But also, one thing you need to remember is last year we got that match like 5 times in a row.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
I've already forgotten it.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm going to go back to my pre-realization days and say I would love to see that match. And speaking of Mr. Aleister Black, and speaking of funny little men doing funny little things, Mr. Aleister Black posted a full color picture in glasses I don't approve of. Fucking hate those glasses. But a full color picture, first one in a while, with the caption, ever. First one ever. Didn't fucking know that either.
Let me dive back into his Instagram just to make sure.
Well, as you do that, let me, I'll read this. He said, "Let us sit face to face soon. I will have many stories to tell, all of them in full color." And he looks like a person, which I hate. I don't like him looking like a person. However, I would give anything for Aleister Black to return. I'd give anything for Aleister Black to return by coming up through the floor again. But I'll take what I can get here.
He did post a color video in September. But before that, it was for Black Lives Matter. He posted a painting of George Floyd in color. But if we're sticking strictly to WWE, the last picture that he posted that is of color is from last April, so about a year ago. WrestleMania. It was for WrestleMania.
So I retain my statement of first one in a while.
Yeah, it was for his feud against Bobby Lashley.
This is exciting because a lot of people were saying that he wasn't going to be coming back to the WWE, which made a lot of sense after everything.
Yeah.
But, dude, I want Aleister back so bad.
Mm-hmm.
If there ever were a man who I would pay top dollar to see again, it would be him.
Yeah.
He brings such a different style to the roster. And as annoyed as I was after a certain point with the Buddy, Seth, Ray thing, never got tired of the Aleister aspect of it. That I can stand by.
Well, okay. I was tired of the Kevin Owens Aleister thing.
Well, that was different. That's why I said the Seth aspect of it I wasn't tired of ever. The Kevin Owens thing, yeah, no, that was exhausting. I hope Aleister has both of his eyes, though.
Well,
no?
Yeah, I think based on that picture he will, because he tries to stick his Instagram as close to kayfabe as possible. because he, even when he was off TV for a while, he was still posting pictures of him with a bandaged eye.
I really want him back. I want him back so bad.
Yeah. Me too. But
right. I guess we do have to talk about this fucking show at some point, don't we?
yeah. Yep.
I recognize I just said that our new tagline is "We watch Raw so you don't have to."
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So why don't you head us off here?
All right. So in this promo-heavy episode of Raw, we started off with an interview with Drew McIntyre. It's I think in the garage or something. He recaps the deal that Bobby Lashley made against him. There were so many recaps there. There were so many recaps. There were so many commercial breaks. There were so many commercial breaks. Yeah, he recaps that deal where whoever can take him out will be given a title match at WrestleMania against Bobby Lashley. But Drew questions if Lashley is even good for his offer. And he says whoever tries to bring that fight to him, he promises an ass kicking. And then we have Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business come out to the ring. MVP says he wants to make an announcement. Again, he recaps the deal that was made. He says that bounty isn't weakness. And it happened because Drew has already had his shot at the title, and he just wants to let other talent get a shot at WrestleMania. Bobby then says that Cedric and Shelton have both failed in taking out Drew, and so they are tarnishing his image, and he can't count on them anymore. MVP then lets them use their mics, gives them an opportunity to speak for themselves. Shelton and Cedric, they're not having it. Shelton said Bobby wouldn't be champion if it wasn't for them. And MVP tries to separate Shelton and Bobby, but Shelton pushes MVP. Bobby then attacks Cedric, and then Shelton tries to attack Bobby, but Bobby attacks Shelton. And Bobby, once both are down, says the Hurt Business is over. Man, that sucks. They got rid of like the one good thing about Raw.
And the thing too is that it's like I sat here for so long saying, no, they're not breaking them up. They're just doing this for character. They're just kind of like diversifying them. That's an egg on my face.
Don't worry, I was there with you. Because I thought, WWE would have had some common sense. But whatever.
It's such a shame because it was like the one storyline that really had like cohesiveness to it still.
Yeah. And
good, talented wrestlers.
And passion.
Yeah. And now it's just like, I'm telling you, WWE makes fucking stables and then just says, well, we tried. And they didn't try, but they'll say we tried and then they...
Yeah. Right off the heels of Retribution dying too.
Yeah.
But after that, we then have an interview with Riddle. He was asked why Sheamus attacked him with his scooter last week. Riddle says he thinks Sheamus doesn't have a soul or just has a stomachache. Then Riddle rides off over to Titus. He says he wants Titus to roast a pig at WrestleMania. And then Titus is like, no, I'm co-hosting WrestleMania.
I mean, I know a pig he could fucking roast at WrestleMania.
Look, Hogan's not a cop.
Sure he wants one. Wanted to be one.
He's just a racist man.
Same diff.
And then Sheamus just runs in screaming and checks Riddle into some boxes. Sheamus blindsiding people is the best thing ever.
He didn't have to do it, but he did it for us, and I really appreciate it.
Forget, like, just for a second, forget the whole allegations for Riddle. His whole gimmick right now with being a fucking moron and just like this isn't Austin Theory levels of dumb. This is like just stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid to the point where it doesn't feel genuine. It's not funny.
Like when somebody's trying to be dumb, it almost feels like somebody now, like a 50-year-old like producer, 60-year-old producer, trying to remake those stupid fucking like Dumb and Dumber and like, Austin Powers movies. That's what it feels like.
It feels like, it feels like a shitty sequel to a great movie. And in this case, that great movie is The Way and Austin Theory, and the shitty sequel is Riddle. Even though one came before the other.
Yeah, I mean, and today really made that shine through, honestly, in my opinion, because of what we'll talk about later. But like, it's also so funny because like shit, like what we'll talk about later happens, and Botchamania comes out the day before, and I'm like, you could have fucking used this. Now I've got to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah. But like the whole fucking roast and you might just have a stomach ache, like you very clearly botched Riddle's character. He was just a dude bro, like a LA kind of surfer bro, and now he's just what? Just a moron? That's it?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
If you're gonna keep this guy on TV, at least make it enjoyable to watch him in the slightest.
And this isn't a sustainable gimmick.
It's not. If he was in like a stable or something, like Austin Theory, fine. There would be people to work around him and work off of him, some contrasting. But by himself, it does not work.
Yeah. Especially because like it's not even like he's got like a friend.
Yeah, when he was like, I was kind of excited when he was gonna do the Hardy Bros thing, tag team with Jeff Hardy, because that would have been an interesting dynamic.
I wasn't excited about that, but that's just because I don't really like watching Jeff Hardy.
Yeah,
and I might get roasted for that by other people, but I cannot stand him. I'm sorry.
But I think it would be more enjoyable than what we're watching right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Because to have somebody there to like laugh at him instead of just being like, "What the fuck is this moron?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is 9 times out of 10. It's just somebody staying there like,
my God, and it's gonna be so apparent in a little bit. Like, oh, there was a very cringy promo that happened.
It was.
Ooh.
I cannot wait to talk about that.
But moving on from that segment, we then have Shelton and Cedric. They're backstage and they walk up to Adam Pearce. They want to have Shelton have a one-on-one match against Bobby Lashley today, and then Cedric wants one next week. This. Am I wrong in thinking that Cedric should have gone first today? And then Shelton should have next week?
Shelton's a stronger contender. Would have made so much more sense.
Right.
Good build.
Because you have Bobby beat Shelton today. It's like, okay, now we know that he's going to absolutely destroy Cedric.
Yep. Unless Cedric pulls something out where all of a sudden he's just like, I'm incredibly talented against massive human beings, which he's incredibly talented, but Bobby's a different level.
Or somebody like comes in to help him, but at that point, it's I don't know. I don't know.
I don't either, buddy.
But then we have Sheamus versus Riddle. And let me tell you, when WrestleMania happens and there's Sheamus versus Riddle for the US title, I will be praying to God that Sheamus gets that title so we can have an actually comprehensible US title scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I think honestly Mustafa should still be allowed to go for it. I think he should get another shot.
Yeah, I would like to see him against Sheamus though.
Ooh, yeah, that's fair. Okay.
After the fight he put up against Drew today.
He held his own really well. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
At all. I have my opinions about that match, but we'll discuss it.
Yeah. All right. So, do you want to jump into Sheamus versus Riddle?
Yeah, I guess. Match really starts with a lot of grappling. We get an armbar on Sheamus that's turned into a triangle that Sheamus tries to lift and powerbomb Riddle out of. We then get a takedown right into a headlock on Riddle, and then a shoulder tackle that goes right through the fucking man. Riddle jumps into a sleeper on Sheamus's back. We get a series of back elbows to Riddle while John Cone tries to separate the two men. There's a punch to the back of Riddle before they start exchanging blows. A kick under the jaw and then to the chest of Sheamus. We get a knee strike that goes right into Sheamus's midsection and then a drop kick that takes him off of the apron. Riddle then hits love talking. Riddle then hits the floating bro out onto Sheamus ringside. We go to commercial break. When we come back, Sheamus has his newest favorite fucking move, which I don't love because of pandemic reasons, but he's got a Celtic smile going on. Riddle.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what they've been calling it.
That's so dumb. Oh my god.
It really is. It really
is.
Anyways, we then get an Irish curse backbreaker onto Riddle, and then Sheamus goes up top with Riddle on his shoulders. Riddle bops down from there. Sheamus beats him over the head. Riddle hits Sheamus. Sheamus still sends Riddle back down to the mat. Riddle then hits him with a suplex off the top rope regardless. Then we get a Pele kick and a kip up to Sheamus. I believe it was a fisherman's suplex or a gut wrench suplex that we got. After that to Sheamus. And then Sheamus is going for that Alabama slam, but Riddle rolls right on through. Get a PK to Sheamus and a senton. Riddle then gets Sheamus back into that triangle hold, and Sheamus power bombs him. He doesn't break the hold, though. Sheamus manages to reach the ropes. And then Sheamus does something for all of the ladies in the world tonight, which was we got a fucking white noise right onto the apron.
That was devastating.
That was possibly the hottest thing I've ever fucking seen. In my humblest of opinions. Looked fucking cruel as can be, but we then get an Alabama slam to Mr. Riddle. Sheamus starts lining up for the brogue, but is met with a flash knee strike. We get another hard knee strike, we get a hard knee strike to Mr. Riddle, however, to win. And then Riddle, the little crybaby, fucking attacks Sheamus for absolutely no reason. Outside of the fact that he was just tested.
That was weird. I didn't understand why he attacked him.
I don't know what that vibe was at all. It was just like not in Riddle's nature. I guess it's because Sheamus was beating him up, but like you poke a sleeping bear too many fucking times, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But after that, we get a backstage interview with Shane McMahon and Elias. Shane just says they're going to find out some very interesting things about Braun today. Then we have Drew McIntyre backstage with AJ Styles and Omas. This was a very interesting interaction. Drew says to AJ that he didn't think that he would refuse Bobby's offer. But AJ said that they have much bigger plans for Mania, and Omas chimes in and says their plans are a lot more realistic. They can actually achieve them. I'm hoping Omas is right. Then we have Shane McMahon and Elias in the ring. Shane addresses his knee. He says people think his injury is illegitimate. But he says that adrenaline allowed him to use his knee and run away. Not how... that might be how adrenaline works, but not to that extent. Shane then plays on the jumbo, or shows on the jumbo, Braun's report card from 5th grade to show how stupid he is. And shows all D's. Some notes. One of them includes instigating fights with peers. He should be held back, etc., etc. He then shows a photoshopped picture of Braun as a kid wearing a dunce hat, obviously in detention. Shane then just says that Braun just needs a big ol' hug. That's it. And then Braun Strowman comes out and attacks the people, and then we move on to the dirt sheet.
Yay, dirt sheet! Woo!
Not woo. Not woo. God, this is so tired of the Miz. John Morrison has been great, but Miz has just been so lame. He's been so one note.
Mr. Johnny Drip Drip needs to be sat down, though. I think like, just spoken to briefly about his recent choices in terms of fashion.
Look, he's going through a little midlife crisis.
Yeah, the moment his wife signed with the WWE, he was like,
So John Morrison says that his hair is so full because it's full of secrets.
That was a Mean Girls reference. Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I'm mad that I did, but I did.
Okay, I love him even more now that he made a Mean Girls reference. Oh my god.
I hate that. God. It made me like viscerally angry while I was sitting there. I was just like,
oh man. But then we get the world premiere of the Hey Hey Hop Hop music video, which, you know, it's a music video. It sounds a bit like Bad Bunny's music. But I mean, it was so poorly mixed though.
oof,
you could barely hear the words.
Which maybe the song was mixed well. It just wasn't going through the television correctly or something. But like it wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But then Bad Bunny comes out along with Damian Priest. And they both thought that the video was entertaining. But Bad Bunny said at WrestleMania he's gonna make Miz his bitch. Miz then tries to he jumps off the ring and tries to confront Bad Bunny. Damian blocks them though. But then he lets him aside and just says, "Go at it." Miz gets in Bad Bunny's face, and then Bad Bunny just whops him right in the face. That looked like it made a lot of contact.
You could tell that he has probably had to hold his own in a fight before, because that was just a man who was like, well, all right.
Yeah.
Loved the legal closed fist punch, though. Love that. Love that for Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny then just gets in the ring and starts throwing everything. He throws one of the chairs. He throws it towards he's about to throw it towards the announce desk, but then last second realizes that there's people there, and so he lobs it mid throw.
He spikes it basically.
Yeah. Oh, and then God, we have after that segment we have Randy Orton backstage. He's just rambling to the camera. He said he lists off a bunch of people he's faced in the past, some legends, and says none of the men he's faced compare to the Fiend. He said he ignored the fact that the Fiend was not human when he tried to light him on fire. He's actually an abomination from hell. He said the match at Fastlane was a trap because Alexa Bliss, put all this stuff together, orchestrated all of it. But he said for the final time, he'll stand across the ring from an abomination at WrestleMania. He has to make sure the Fiend is out of his life once and for all. Fiend's winning that fight. 100%.
I can't stop yawning. Oh my god.
But now we have the WWE Champion Bobby Lashley versus Shelton Benjamin.
Which Tom Phillips incorrectly announced as a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah.
My man just made that shit up on the spot. He definitely was not listening to the promo earlier. And very much was just like, yeah, this is what it is. It's gotta be this, right? Right, so we start with this, it's fucking clobbering time. Basically, they're just punching each other. Bobby ends up sending Shelton from the ring and runs him right into the ring post. We then get back into the ring. Lashley spears Shelton in the corner and then kind of goes for Cedric, who's been annoying him on the apron this whole time. Cedric runs away. Cedric says, not my fucking problem right now. We then get a pay dirt to Mr. Lashley, who is now distracted as he comes back into the ring. There's a couple of knee strikes to Lashley, but that doesn't stop Lashley from fucking pulverizing the spine of Benjamin with a massive spine buster. We get a second one that's not quite as massive, but still, it's a spine buster. And finally, we just get the full Lashley to win. That's it. I think now I'm thinking about yawning, and that's the problem.
I can't mention this promo until we start talking about it, but Vince McMahon Googling made a very funny tweet about the awkward promo. So after that match, we have a promo with the New Day and AJ Styles and Omas. They're backstage. Xavier has a sign with him that says, "We miss E." I didn't pay attention to anything that was said. Only the sign, because Xavier kept flipping the pages. So he said, the first page says, "We miss E." The second page said, "Like for real." The third page said, "Up, up, down, down" on YouTube. Then the New Day podcast. And lastly, "Support our heroes rock." Which is, if you don't know, is Big E's initiative. Is it for all black schools or just schools in general to teach about black history?
It's just to teach black history to school-age children through, fun media.
Okay. Yeah, it's an initiative that he's, I think, spearheading or backing significantly.
It's him and a couple other people, but he's one of the main guys. He actually, because I think it's done through, it's like an online thing, and he voices like one of the biggest, like the main characters, who's like this robot, and it's like a play on his name, I think. almost positive. I know I reported on this like months ago.
Yeah. You can find out all about it by going on Big E's social media. But after that, we are brought to the ring for the New Day game night. So the New Day, Xavier and Kofi are standing in the ring with a bunch of games around. You got Connect 4, Jenga, big board. I think there was another game, but I forget. They introduce AJ Styles and Omas. They say, we want to test your chemistry and teamwork by playing these team games. Which, by the way, Connect 4 and Jenga are not team games. But
They can be if you try hard enough.
I mean, maybe Connect 4, but definitely not Jenga.
Take turns.
They start with charades, and Xavier and Kofi nail it on the first try on their turn. But then it's Omas and AJ. And AJ has to act out the Lion King. Omas is not interested in the slightest. He looks like he's trying to figure it out, but is not trying. They don't win that round. Then we move on to Pictionary. Xavier or Kofi draws a rocket ship. They get it. And AJ just has to draw the sun. But again, Omas is not interested in the slightest and just yells, "Enough of the games. At Mania, I'll show you what I'm capable of." And then AJ just trashes the ring, knocks over the Jenga tower, throws the easel, all of that. All the while, Xavier is calling AJ a baby. Oh, I wasn't.
I loved it.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in like this segment at first because it was like, oh god, another like talk show or something. But the chemistry between these four guys is so good.
It really is. I'm really happy that we got this at least because I wasn't excited about it at first, I'll be honest, but I'm really coming around to it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So after that we had Alexa's Playground. Oh no, never mind. I skipped the match. We had Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. Great match.
Oh. And I got my good reaction in there and everything. Right. So AJ starts off with a nasty fucking dropkick to Xavier. We get a massive lariat that ends up slowing AJ down though. Xavier takes two, chopping Styles in the corner. Styles then shoves Woods into a different corner before pulling him from it and whipping him back right into it. Had a little hiccup. Woods dodges AJ, sending him face first into the top buckle before chopping him down to the mat. He then sends AJ from the ring. He goes to dive out onto him, but then Omas stands in his way, and Xavier's just like, I'm not dealing with that. I don't blame him. AJ tries to capitalize, but Woods has a dropkick waiting for him on the return into the ring. This sends AJ out the other side of the ring and offers Xavier the perfect timing to dive out onto him on that side where Omas is not. Xavier folds AJ with a back elbow. We then get like a nearly horribly botched back body drop because AJ doesn't tuck his fucking head until like halfway through. So for part of it, his head is just like facing down this way. And I was like, I'm about to watch a man die. Which, to be fair, this was nothing in comparison to Ricochet, who was just asking for a fucking broken neck this evening. Anywho, AJ manages to land. It doesn't die. Xavier goes to put him up top, and AJ slips free, rips Woods off the top buckle, There's a fireman's carry takeover right into a knee into the back of the neck of Xavier. He goes for the Styles Clash, but Woods gets up, gets the DDT off onto AJ. Xavier goes up top, but Omas pulls AJ from the ring to save his tiny little ass. Xavier attacks Omas, but Omas just assaults the man by ostensibly tossing him over the ropes back into the ring. And then drops Kofi. Kofi? Who the fuck is Kofi? Drops Kofi over the barricade. Just flapjacks him. This basically results in a DQ. Omas gets into the ring. And I believe throws Xavier down with a spine buster. Just to solidify his heelishness.
That was a great match.
You know, it was a really good match. I really liked this match a lot, actually. I thought it was... Their styles meshed really well together. Ironically, their styles. Their styles meshed really well together. I think they look good together, and I think that the chemistry, obviously, between Xavier and Kofi is really good, but the chemistry between AJ and Omas is also really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I like watching them together.
Yeah. I actually remember that thread I talked about during the news about Andrade.
I do recall.
It also talks about the incident that we didn't talk about in the news that you brought up to me before we started watching Raw about Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about that just yet because I don't have all the details on it.
I have details.
Right, but there's like some stuff that's like weird that like even what I said when I was telling you about it, I don't think is totally accurate.
Well, I have information from like this thread is quoting Andrade. So
okay,
if you're okay with it, can I just read these quotes from Andrade? So it says, again, this is from Maggie_Rita on Twitter, who's transcribing a lot of his words. 15 days ago, asked for his release on a Monday. He tested positive for COVID. Sunday, 7 days later with COVID, they called him and said he was granted his release. The doc that punished, quote unquote, him for testing positive for substance is the same doc called Charlotte. That doc told her she was pregnant. Charlotte took several pregnancy tests and saw a negative result. WWE didn't make moves for her. Andrade and Charlotte went to find docs themselves to confirm if she was or wasn't, and Charlotte was pulled from the storyline, the Asuka Charlotte Flair storyline, because she was pregnant. When they proved she wasn't pregnant, WWE didn't apologize or anything. The doctor just called, said, "You're pregnant," and that's it. Andrade says it happened to other talent as well. That's Lacey Evans? Oh, God.
I mean, I think Lacey's actually pregnant, so...
I think she might have posted a baby bump or something on Instagram, but Hugo, I'm not sure who Hugo is, asked why she was taken, I think that's like a reporter or something, asked why she was taken off the posters. Andrade said he has info, but he doesn't want to affect her, so he can't say if it was because of him or some other reason. He says there's a lot of jealousy towards her, says there's a lot of female talent, but only 3 or 4 can go 20 minutes. Adds Charlotte has had problems in the locker room. Someone took a picture of her backstage. He says they know who it was. Charlotte ignored it, didn't tell WWE. Andrade said people use her dad, but she's a great wrestler. She's earned her spot. Oh wait, here's a clarification of the above tweet. Says a lot of female talent get jealous of her, but can't handle going 20 minutes or getting their match cut. Some talent would tell Charlotte she hit them too hard or complain about other things in their match. Andrade says he hopes Charlotte doesn't face consequences for his leaving, but that she has the movie project upcoming, that she doesn't blame him for anything, and that she knows how to defend herself in the ring and on the mic. that her dad didn't get her to the Mania main event. Says she has a lot of external offers and doors open, so she hopes she doesn't face consequences, but she has doors open in lots of places. A lot of fucked up stuff there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. The most shocking part to me, because you and I both knew about the pregnancy situation prior to this podcast, but I didn't know it happened to other women too.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm glad you told the story because you clarified information that I had.
Like what?
Well, just the whole doctor, the picture backstage and shit like that. That was where I was confused, and that's why I was like, maybe not talk about it just yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the episode. After Xavier Woods and AJ Styles match, we have Alexa's Playground. She has a Jack in a Box, same one she's had for a while. She gives a little lesson on Jack in the Box that it used to be called a devil in a box because it contained minor demons or curse, whatever. She said that when the Fiend was killed, he was just weakened and trapped inside her Fiend in a Box. And all he needed was time. And then she ended the promo saying Randy Orton will die at WrestleMania. You think Randy's retiring after that match?
I'm not so sure.
Who else is there for him to fight?
You know, it's funny. I would have had an answer for you like 5 hours ago because I saw an article that said, here's how long Randy wants to continue wrestling for. And now I don't know. But I hope not. I don't think so. I mean, he's still young. I think that if anything, I'd be more worried about what's happening with the Fiend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear the Fiend is winning that match at Mania, but it's like, who is on the scale of Drew and now the Fiend that he can take on in a fight and have it feel real, have it feel like it's evenly matched?
I think that's on the hands of the people in charge of building the feud of whatever happens next, just because I remember when we first started hearing about Randy and the Fiend, I was kind of just like, okay, I kind of get it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm invested. So,
well, like, I could only see him like in terms of stature within the WWE. I could only see him, since he's already fought Drew, maybe Roman Reigns, but that's on SmackDown. Brock Lesnar, if he were to come back. Or, I guess, Bobby Lashley. But again, that's putting him right back in the WWE title scene.
I don't know. I try not to worry about this stuff because, like, I feel like if I worry about it, then it's going to get in my head.
Yeah, that's fair. Would actually love to see a feud against AJ Styles, like a prolonged one.
Yeah. Be cool.
Yeah. Then we move on to Drew McIntyre backstage. Drew's mad. He walks into the men's locker room and shouts at everyone, asking who's gonna step up. He goes up to Braun, gets in his face. Braun stands up and he said, after Mania, I will be coming after that title, or after Drew, or whatever. Drew then confronts Humberto and just tosses him. Angel Garza attacks Drew, but he's quickly taken down. Drew Gulak is hesitating to go after him. He even smiles, he starts to laugh because he can't control himself. but he's just Glasgow kissed. But then Ricochet is confronted by Drew, and Ricochet just calmly accepts the challenge, and we have that match later to look forward to. But for now, we have Shayna Basler versus Naomi, with Mandy, Rose, and Dana Brooke commentating this match.
All right. I really feel like we're getting a setup here I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, we start with a back elbow into the midsection of Naomi. Naomi gets her feet up to Shayna and kicks her upside the head. We then get Naomi trying to jump over her by pushing off the buckles, but Shayna catches her legs and kicks her in the elbow, which I thought was a really cool move. We then get a pretty botched elbow stomp. And Shayna just goes full Jeffrey Dahmer on Naomi's arm, because that's what she's good at, and she looks good doing it. Naomi manages to break free and avoids any further damage with an enziguri and a blockbuster, as well as what I'm now calling the ass buster.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what else to call it.
The tailbone breaker.
Ass buster sounds so much cooler though.
Tailbreaker. Tailbuster.
Tailbreaker, okay. Tailbreaker is almost fair. But then everything falls apart because Reggie distracts Naomi. Shayna pulls her down from the top of the... She was going up top. So Shayna pulls her down. Lana pulls Reggie from the apron. Nia attacks Lana. Nearly puts her through... What?
Lana didn't pull down Reggie. Reggie jumped over Lana's arm and did a roll on the apron.
Oh, it's almost like I care. Nia then attacks Lana, nearly puts her through the table again. Lana sends Nia into Mandy and Dana. Mandy and Dana attack Lana and Naomi. And Nia. I knew I was going to make that mistake. I made the mistake when I was typing it, and I knew I was going to do it when I was talking about it. But Mandy and Dana attack Lana and Nia because I don't know why. Shayna then pushes Lana, who was kind of thrown onto the apron, off of the apron. Naomi capitalizes on the distraction by rolling Shayna up to win. With a really nice bridging pin. Looked really good.
Yeah. You missed the first pin, which was even crazier.
I didn't see it. And I'm sorry I didn't see it.
Shayna was on her back, like in the jackknife cover position with like on her back, legs over her head and everything. But Lana, she was like, here's
Naomi?
Yeah, Naomi. Here's Shayna in the jackknife cover position. These are Naomi's legs, and she's face down in front of her and pinning her with her legs wrapped around. It was a very strange cover, but it worked very perfectly for Naomi.
I'm mad I didn't see that now.
But are you ready for this next promo?
Oh my god, okay, so I muted myself twice because I wanted to watch the video just to see what the fuck happened, because like it felt like a fever dream. It felt fake.
Yeah. So Riddle riding backstage on a scooter, and he rides up to Asuka, and he asks if scooters are big in Japan. And then he messed up his lines. Just said like, "I'm sorry, bro."
So there was a longer interaction before that. There was like about a minute of interaction. And then I didn't follow what he was talking about. But basically, you can see his face go blank. You can see him say, I'm sorry. And then it almost sounds like something about rehearsal. Like, I feel like he was like saying, I didn't get to practice this in rehearsal. Like, I didn't get to rehearse this or something like that. And then just shakes his head and like rolls away.
Apparently he looked directly into camera.
He did. It is the weirdest shit in the entire world. Let me just And like poor it's so weird because like he looks right at the camera and then just scoots away. Like I think he apologizes as he's like leaving, but it's like you can't you can't just like fake see it.
But also, they've probably done a lot of takes of that. Unless that was one of the live promos, but I don't think they do many of those.
It may have been, but like also it may not have. It's so weird.
But Asuka then has like this deer in headlights look. She looks between all the crew members and is just like, what do I do now? It was yeah, go
It's so
ahead.
sweet because like she has that look in her face and then she's just like anyway and just like laughs. And it's like even without using words, she played that off better than you did.
But in all fairness, if there is anyone on the entire WWE roster for that to happen to, the person it would work with the most would be Riddle.
Right, and he didn't know how to play it off at all.
He still, if anyone else is in that position, it would have gone a million times worse. Like the same exact words. I think so, because
I don't think that would have happened to anybody else on the roster, really. I feel like there's so many people that, like, you can see when, like, things go wrong. Like, there have been times with, like, Kofi and Xavier where, like, you can kind of tell that the lines aren't right. Or, like, there was a time where MVP had to correct them. And they're just like, whatever. And they just moved on.
Mm.
Whereas Riddle just, like, shut down. It did not look like anything was happening up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that he shut down just makes me realize that, like, there's a real man under there, and I don't think I mean, I know I don't care for him, but, like, there's something just kind of like, oh, when you see somebody who's supposed to be, like, this happy-go-lucky little fucker, I'll just be like, oh, shit, basically.
If he was still kind of in his stoner persona, which it doesn't feel like he is anymore, that would fit better. You know, just to forget what you're saying and be like, oh, never mind, and right off.
Or he could have just, like, looked at her like, what was I saying? Anyways, good luck at your match, and just fucked off. Easy enough.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been, like, so, like, jarring, because, like, I wasn't even watching the TV at that point. I was typing. I was trying to keep track of everything that had happened in the Lana Naomi, or the Naomi Shayna match. But my ears heard the drop in tone. And I was just like, something weird just happened.
I want to believe that there were like 5 takes of that, and that was like the first one. And Vince watched it, and he was like, yes, I really want to go with that one. Anyway, after that we have the contract signing for the Raw Women's Championship match for Rumble between Rhea Ripley and Asuka. Rhea Ripley comes out first, then Asuka. And Asuka says that Rhea is being very overconfident. They both sign the contract. Asuka says, your confidence is borrowed, not earned yet. Rhea then throws up the table, smashes Asuka right in the face, like full contact with the table. The hard surface table that looks like it's like some fake marble or something.
I know what those tables are, and that's metal. It's
Okay.
brushed stainless steel metal. Which isn't better.
Yeah. She's okay. I hope she just sold that really well.
I don't think something tells me that because it wasn't any fault of anybody's, really. It was just Rhea was supposed to flip the table. Asuka's head went down for whatever reason. And thus the contact. But it's just like, Poor Rhea. Poor Rhea played that shit off so well, though.
Yeah, but then, unfortunately, Nia Jax, Shayna Basler, and Reginald come out. They're talking a bunch of shit, and Nia and Shayna both suggest individually going for the Raw Women's Championship themselves. But then they say, if the little Raw Women's Champion can, like, if she's alive, let's have a tag team match next week. Which would be Nia and Shayna versus Rhea and Asuka. And would be Rhea's first match officially on the main roster. And yeah, that's how that ends. But then we get Ricochet and MVP backstage.
Hang time.
What's up?
Just want to say. I'm going to harp on this, and I'm going to stop after this, I promise. Matt Riddle forgets a line, loses it, basically. Rhea excellently basically knocks her fucking, like, partner out. And she's just like, well, I guess I'm holding the mic for the rest of this fucking promo. Like, it's just those little things where I'm like, it's funny.
Remember Drew's botch today? When he was like, MVP is probably in your ear right now. As they cut to MVP sitting at the commentary desk.
Like, what the fuck?
And then they cut back from commercial, and Drew's like, I just realized MVP's been behind me the whole time.
You know, you can say what you want about Drew, like, he's a fucking dumbass, but, like, at least he had the sense of mind to be like, somebody's gonna make fun of that.
Oh.
I feel like Drew's just such a regular on Botchamania at this point where it's like, well.
I feel like we'd make fun of him less if he didn't have that save. Because saying that MVP is in his ear could just be like, oh, he's just talking on the phone or something.
I think, you know, at the end of the day, that is the one thing that I will still always love about Drew, is that he's at least good at making fun of himself.
Yeah.
Like, he always will be good at that. So.
But you know what that tells me, though, and I'm sorry to go on this aside right now, but Drew saying that reminds me that Samoa Joe probably it wasn't supposed to be gone today. Something probably happened.
So. Yeah.
And they obviously needed a heel commentator to join them, and MVP is probably the only one who's capable of doing that right now.
Which, to be fair, MVP played a pretty middle-of-the-road kind of character, which kind of shocked me.
He had some arguments with Byron, though.
Fair. Poor Byron. Leave him alone.
But also, to be fair, Samoa Joe is also pretty middle-of-the-road. So Charlotte also just released a statement about the pregnancy situation that I won't go into right now. But apparently the whole thing is lost in translation, she said.
See, that's why I held back on talking about it too, because I also saw that and I was like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
But yeah. So we have Ricochet and MVP backstage. MVP says to Ricochet, you're finally thinking like a businessman. But Ricochet says, no, for once, tonight is about Ricochet. I know I can beat Drew. You're a fool of a man, Ricochet. And then we have Drew McIntyre versus Ricochet.
Yes, we do. So Ricochet comes in with some hard hooks to Drew's abs. Drew throws him into the corner and then tosses him with a big back body drop that Ricochet just keeps his entire head backwards for the whole fucking, like, first 2/3 of it. Not tucking it until, like, the last second. And I was like, once again, not trying to watch a man die today. We then get another attempt, but this time Ricochet lands on his feet. There's a head scissors to Drew and a kick upside the head. We get a spinning back heel kick to Andrew, and then McIntyre is sent over the rope. He drags Ricochet out with him and punches him. Drew then throws him, and he lands up on the barricade and hits Drew with a drop kick off of it, which was just, say what you will about Ricochet, I'll say it too, but that was a pretty impressive fucking move.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean anything because he gets back into the ring. He goes up top, tries to hit the 630, but Drew avoids it. Ricochet lands on his feet just to be fucking Claymored in half for Andrew to win. This then drags us right into our next match, which is not an expected match in any way, or a sanctioned match at that, I don't believe. Which is the return of Mustafa. Our sweet prince has returned. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. You little Pisces bitch.
Did you know, in his boots, his kids write their names in them? He posted that on Twitter today.
Don't talk to me anymore. Cutest fucking shit I've ever heard. I saw so much content about him and his wife yesterday on his birthday, and the whole time I was just sitting there and I was like, they're just so fucking sweet. And now this just sells me. But anyways, so Mustafa's returned. He's got new gear, some pretty olive green, sort of like my sweater, if you were in real life and not looking through a camera. Olive green and white pants. The Retribution flag is now got an A at the front of it instead of an R.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mustafa took that breakup pretty fucking well, I guess, because I didn't. But Mustafa jumps in, trying to capitalize on that incentive from Mr. Lashley. He tries to break Drew's knee and has some good success with it for a while. We get a nasty chop block. He just starts tearing that leg apart. We get a drop kick to Drew, and then he starts standing on Drew's knee against the ropes. Goes for a frog splash onto that same exact leg, which I thought about it and I was like, doesn't that just hurt you even more because you're landing on like the least soft part of a man's body with your fucking ribs? But I let him do what he wants to do because I love him. We then get a big overhead toss to Mustafa and an overhead belly to belly. We get two of those actually. And then Mustafa stomps Drew's leg, goes up in the air, and is knocked right on down by Mr. McIntyre just pushing him. Then we get another big Claymore. So I guess this was really just to remind us that Ali still is here. He still exists. And ideally, he's not been relegated to main event, which I'm sure he has been, but fingers are crossed.
Yeah. Did really love Mustafa's appearance though. I do think they're moving a little fast after the end of Retribution. I think they could have waited, or at least done something else with Mustafa. But he put up a great performance.
Really did. He looked really believable.
I thought he was gonna win it, honestly.
I did too. I was excited.
But then Bobby Lashley comes out, and Drew and Bobby are both talking in the ring. Drew makes a save about realizing MVP's been behind him the whole time. But Bobby said, Drew said, you can't prevent the inevitable. Drew versus Bobby at WrestleMania. But Bobby said he never needed anyone's help. Drew then says, because you sent offers out to get me, you're afraid of me. But then Bobby just attacks Drew. They brawl for a little bit, but then out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, King Corbin flies in and attacks Drew. Drew gives a belly to belly to Corbin, but then Corbin gives a deep six to Drew, and then Bobby comes in to give the hurt lock to Drew, another hurt lock, and then Drew tries to crawl away, and we get a third hurt lock onto Drew. And this does kind of make sense, having Corbin come in, because Drew, Bobby, and Corbin used to be a stable. And Corbin actually... Let me try and find Corbin's tweet that he made about this. Because it does kind of explain further what happened. He said, "We used to run Raw. We destroyed monsters and punished everyone. Then one guy sold out and wanted to sell t-shirts. Bobby made an offer and I showed up." So, imagine 3MB where one guy went off to do... Like, imagine The Shield and Drew is Dean Ambrose.
Wow.
Yeah. It's long-term booking for sure. But was it worth the death of Hurt Business?
No.
No.
Oh. I don't know if there was anything that was really worth the death of Hurt Business besides, like, I don't know, telling me I'd actually get Shelton and Bobby at WrestleMania instead of Drew and Bobby.
Yeah. I was hoping because Corbin took out Drew, now we'd get Corbin versus Bobby at Mania, which would be more interesting than Drew versus Bobby, in my opinion.
Yeah. However, I think the McMahons still fucking hate Corbin, so.
Oh, I'm sure. As do a lot of fans, actually.
I don't get that.
Fans
I love
find
him
really boring.
I think he's kind of boring, yeah, but I love him. Because he's just a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick for the sake of being a dick.
Like, I don't need more than that. It's just like, he's an asshole. What else do you want from him?
Yeah.
Character? That's why you get Fast Corbin.
His character's a dick.
It's like, if we're allowed to have an idiot as a character, we should be allowed to have just an absolute dickhead for characters too, as well.
Yeah, you know how there's like bland baby faces? There should be bland heels.
And Corbin wouldn't be bland if they didn't just like book him for the sake of being like, oh, well, we've got a space open, let's just throw Corbin in there.
Yeah.
You know? Not Corbin.
Yeah. But again, not worth the death of the Hurt Business. Best of the night? Alright, so promo of the night. We started off with that Drew McIntyre interview. That was just recap. Bobby Lashley and MVP scold Shelton and Cedric, thus ending the Hurt Business. That was heartbreaking. Feels too soon. So overall shocking. Then we had the first Riddle interview where Sheamus comes in and checks him into boxes. That was alright. Shelton and Cedric talked to Adam Pearce. That was fine. Shane and Elias backstage, whatever. Drew, AJ, and Omas backstage. That was a very interesting promo. But nothing more than interesting. Shane and Elias in the ring talking about Braun's report card. That was fucking weird. This whole storyline's bizarre. The dirt sheet, that was half good, half Randy's promo backstage, rambling to the camera. That was all recap. New Day and AJ and Omas backstage. That was fun. It was mostly for the sign that Xavier had. But the New Day game night was a lot of fun. That was really good stuff. Great chemistry from all of them. And yeah, really good like storytelling on their part, with Omas just not wanting to have any of it. AJ just like really wanting to prove themselves, doing it in any way, and then just New Day just egging them on. It was great. Then we had Alexa's Playground, which was pretty lame. We had Drew McIntyre backstage yelling at everyone in the locker room. I don't know about this, man. I don't know. It was interesting, but like that's it. That's it. Provoke some other people besides the 24/7 title guys.
Yeah, that makes it just feel like they're like just these throwaway fellas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Riddle and Asuka backstage. I'm tempted to give it to this just because of how fucking hilarious it was. Oh, but it wasn't intended to be hilarious.
It was so fucking bad. Like just bad.
It was so funny. It was so funny.
It was crippling.
But then we had the contract signing for the Raw Women's Championship. That was okay. But I feel so bad for Asuka. Asuka takes so many beatings. Like unintended beatings.
She's been having bad luck lately for sure.
Yeah. Oh man. Then Ricochet and MVP backstage, that was fine. Drew and Bobby featuring Corbin. It was definitely strange. It was strange, but after learning like why this happened, makes sense. Am I happy about it? No. So my pick for promo of the night. I got it. I got to give it to New Day Game Night.
Okay, good, because that's what I was gonna go with, and I was worried for a second, but like, yeah, I like that one a lot. I thought that was really funny. I thought it gave us a perfect show of AJ and Omas's characters together. And on top of that, it made me kind of excited for the match, which I wasn't at first.
Yeah. I think if there's any Raw match that's being booked really well, it's that match. All right. So, Wrestler of the Night. You know, I have no clue what my pick is going to be, but we started off with Sheamus versus Riddle. I'm going to go with Sheamus. Sheamus looked great. But you know, it was just Sheamus. I think that white noise onto the apron was the best part of the match. It was the cleanest part of the match, but it was brutal. Then we had Braun cleaning house. Obviously I picked Braun, but there wasn't a whole lot there. Then we had Bobby Lashley versus Shelton Benjamin. I picked Bobby. Bobby looked great. I every time I see Bobby, I get so excited for him being champion. I am like praying he stays champion. I don't want him to lose at Mania. He needs to stay the champion. You okay?
Swallowed wrong, and it was lemon juice, so
Fun. Very fun stuff.
yeah, I feel like my throat has been burned.
Oh.
But I agree. I want Bobby to remain champion. Thank you.
Then we have Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. I'm gonna go with Xavier. Xavier looked fantastic. Yeah, Xavier's an incredible wrestler, and I watched the I think it was the newest episode of the Battle of the Brands with Tyler Breeze. He was asked about how he feels he's changed since his injury, like if he feels his style has changed, and he said he feels like he's gotten better, like his style has improved a lot more since he came back from his injury. Probably with the added fact that he's just being more careful now. I think, but I think it's very clear that he has gotten a lot better, and it shows in matches like this. Then we have Shayna Basler versus Naomi. I'm going with Naomi. Shayna's gotten so lame to me. She's gotten so lame, and
it's sad.
It all stems from her elbow stomp not being a finisher anymore. I mean, the commentators constantly talk it up as being like, oh, like when Tom was talking to Mandy and Dana, and was like, Mandy, this move put you out so and so ago. You remember that? I was like, yeah, that move put me out for a while. And it's like, if it has a history of putting out other women, maybe it should be a finisher. Maybe there's a reason, like, it's so brutal. I don't know.
I get it. It's sad because she's been, like we talk about with, like, my worries about Damian, my worries about Rhea, is that there's such hard-hitting characters.
Mm-hmm.
And the main roster just sanitizes people instantly.
Although, I from what we've seen of Damian, I don't think he's been sanitized at all.
Not yet. No, definitely not.
I think he's hard to sanitize because he wasn't even that good in NXT anyway.
Yeah.
But Rhea, yes, I am worried about. Then we had Drew McIntyre versus Ricochet. I am going with Ricochet, mostly because when Drew Irish whipped him into the stairs, he leapt off of the stairs, stood on the barrier, and then drop kicked Drew. That was insane. That was so good. And Ricochet is also just an incredible seller. Like, he's such a good seller. He's such a good wrestler. I want him to be back in, like, a scene that matters, but, like, we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Apparently, they took him away from, like, the title scene because he's not good on the mic at all.
He isn't, to be fair.
Yeah, he's not.
Boring as shit. Which, you know, he and Drew, match made in heaven.
Well, look, Drew was good early on. Drew was great early on.
It's just the booking.
Yeah. And then we had Drew McIntyre versus Mustafa Ali. I'm going with Mustafa. I mean, the fight and the perseverance he put in. I thought we were gonna have a David and Goliath moment. Goliath. But yeah, Mustafa looked fantastic. He really did. I'm hoping and praying that he's not just a 24/7 main event guy now. But odds are he probably is.
Fortunately.
Unless they start up the Hurt Business again and recruit King Corbin and Mustafa. That'd be interesting.
It would be. Honestly, at this point, as long as I can see Mustafa as often as possible, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah. But my pick for Wrestler of the Night, it's tough because there's so many talented people that wrestled today, but I think I want to go with Xavier Woods. Here's one reason why Xavier was better than most, because after AJ was on the apron and he was just laying in the mat facing commentary or facing Omas just like this.
Alright, fine.
He's so good at working those little character beats into his wrestling. He's so good at it.
Fine.
He makes really good use out of slow moments in a match.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, so match of the night. we started off with Sheamus versus Riddle. A decent match. I don't know if this should have been a clean finish. If this match is happening at Mania, which is like less than 2 weeks away. I feel like this should have been interrupted or DQ'd in some kind of way so that we can get like the full match at Mania, because Sheamus already got the clean pin. Like a clean pin.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird booking.
And just the way he acted afterwards, Riddle, was just so weird. Everything about him tonight was weird.
Yeah. Then we had Bobby Lashley versus Shelton Benjamin in it was a good match. It was a really good match. In all honesty, not super memorable.
No.
And definitely not long enough, especially after it's like these two guys who are like really good friends and colleagues. You would think they have a little more significance to the match.
Yeah, you would. You would really think.
But then we had Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. Fantastic match. I mean, Xavier and AJ both individually put up great performances. But the storytelling they did with Omas on the sideline was also fantastic. Every iteration of the storyline gets better and better with each week. It's the one thing that's been consistently great on the road to WrestleMania. Then we had Shayna Basler versus Naomi. I'm 50-50 on this one. It was a good match, but the whole Lana Reginald thing was so annoying. Reginald's annoying. Hate him. Then we had Drew McIntyre versus Ricochet in a very entertaining match that felt like it had no importance. I mean, there was importance. There were stakes. But I don't know. There was something missing. Something missing from this match that I think we got in the next one. Drew McIntyre versus Mustafa Ali. This was a really great. Okay, I think I know what was missing between Drew and Ricochet was the possibility of Ricochet winning.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
It felt too one-sided, and I think Drew versus Mustafa made it feel more possible for Mustafa to win because Drew just came out of this match with Ricochet. He's more weakened. Ali is having Drew tap out or kick out at 2. So there was a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just a great match between those two. Wish it had lasted a little longer, but you know, I mean, I get it. Drew's supposed to be this dominant force that's just kicking people aside on the way to Bobby. God, it makes me so nervous. I don't want Bobby to lose to Drew. I don't want another Drew title reign. I really don't. None of us
I don't know
can
many
take it.
people who do.
Yeah. Besides Drew's wife, but even then, I don't know if she'd want it.
Honestly, I don't think she wants it either, considering the fact that his entire 24 documentary was her saying, like, I just wanted him to take a break.
Yeah. And even without the title, he hasn't had a break.
I'm sure he's had a break. Like, I'm sure it's been offered.
1 week.
I'm sure, like, the idea of, like, hey, Drew, do you want to maybe, like, lay back for a couple of days? Has been offered. I guarantee you that man has just been sitting there like, no, I'm good.
Remember that week where it was between him and Randy, and he was like barred from going to the Thunderdome, because he would just attack Randy everywhere, but yet he still showed up. I feel like that wasn't supposed to happen, and he just showed up. Like he was legitimately told to leave and just take a break, but he just decided to show up and attack Randy out of nowhere.
I like that.
All right, but match of the night. I gotta go with. I mean, it's a close contender. Mustafa and Drew, but I gotta go with Xavier and AJ.
Yeah, I have to go with you as well on that, only because I just feel like that did something for
Yeah.
us.
Mm-hmm.
It hyped up the match exactly how it should be. And it gave us something to, how do I put this? It gave us something to enjoy and something that like made me excited for what we were getting
Mm-hmm.
soon.
Yeah.
So,
Um. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I feel like I was gonna add something, but I forgot. Um. And it also helps when both wrestlers are like equally entertaining. Whereas Mustafa's entertaining.
mhm.
Drew has become very one note.
If Mustafa and Drew had like any semblance of like a promise of like a future, I
Mm-hmm.
would have gone with that.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah. And if anything, ooh, wait. Do you think?
No.
Do you think that happened so that we can get Ricochet and Mustafa back as a tag team?
No, only because Ricochet is still such a baby face.
I mean, Mustafa basically turned babyface too, especially after that.
I don't know. He still felt very heelish to me. So I would have to wait and find out, I think.
We might get a promo next week that's like him pleading with Ricochet, like, look, I made a horrible mistake, you know, etc., etc. But Raw definitely needs more tag teams.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. They also need to like utilize their performers because
Mm-hmm.
we could easily have several tag teams, but we just
Yeah.
don't get it.
I think we counted this last Friday actually, that like both brands together have like 5 men's tag teams.
Yeah.
Also, you know Parker Boudreaux, fake
Yeah.
Braun or fake Brock.
Yeah.
He's already one step above Brock, because he tweeted 2 hours ago, just out of nowhere. He tweeted Black Lives Matter forever.
Yeah, no, he's pretty progressive as a human being.
Is he?
Yeah, which when I first saw him, I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I mean, progressive Brock, that's hard to come by.
Yep, unfortunately.
But that's also speaking like we know anything about Brock's political affiliation. I don't think we do. I mean, we can make assumptions, but
No, I think we do.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think he's made it decently clear enough, especially because like there's some stories about him doing some less than above board things. So
Well, we
good
have
for Parker.
the new generation to look forward to.
I'm excited to see him start wrestling because I have no clue what that's gonna look like.
Yeah. I really hope they bring him in and just introduce him as Brock Lesnar.
Stop. Imagine.
Oh, that would be so good. That would be perfect. Like that's one of those like only in wrestling things.
I'd cry.
All right, so to run it back, our promo of the night, the New Day game night, wrestler of the night, Xavier Woods, match of the night, Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. It is a clean sweep for the New Day.
Sweep.
Sweep. Liz,
All right.
would you like to close us out?
I suppose. If you joined us tonight, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us. If you join us in the future, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us. I hope that you're having a wonderful April Fool's Day. Not sure why that word completely. I was thinking of New Year's Fool's Day, and then I was gonna say New Fool's Day, and I just
New Fool's Day.
I don't.
Like, oh, probably because the new day.
Well, to be fair, I was thinking of Easter. So
Anyway.
but anyways, we will be back on Wednesday for the best night of the week, in my opinion. Which is NXT night. So please join us for that. It'll be a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun when we do NXT. And we got a lot to look forward to for that. So I think we've got Imperium, we've got some more of the Adam Cole shit. We've also got the 12-man battle royale gauntlet qualifier. So we look forward to you joining us, and thank you. That's, I think, all I have to say right now.
All right. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, follow, subscribe, all that jazz. Our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast. I am at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. You can find all of our previous podcasts, give or take a few, there. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed. And we'll see you on Wednesday for NXT. Have a great night, everyone.